Bob Urey, your host for this most important and informative event. I'm president and founder of CIRA. It's an acronym for Council of Investigation Research on Aerial/Earth Phenomena. And an instructor of PASSIP, an acronym for Pan-African Studies Community Education Program, which is here at Trumbull University. Now, I teach 2 classes in that program, namely on Tuesday we have Astrology, Ancient Mystery, Science of Sciences, and on Wednesday we have Investigating UFO and Alien Phenomena. And these classes take place in Anderson Hall, across the way. This awesome lecture event by Dr. Delbert Blair is brought to you by CIRA organization with great assistance from the Department of African American Studies. The main office, of course, is located on the 8th floor of Blair. And from PASSIP, the main office is located on the 8th floor of Anderson Hall. Now I'd like to give special thanks to Dr. Nathan Norman, who gave us the permission to use this building. And this is the consolidation of both African American studies and also PASSIP. And I think that's dynamic for the community and for Philadelphia as a whole. Now, this little itinerary we're going to have, we got changed because we started half an hour late. But we're going to complete the event and we're going to go a half an hour past the time that we told you about, okay? So I was informed that we can do that. So, of course, 6:45, approximately 6:45 will be Dr. Blair to start. Say about 8:30. We will go from 6:45 to 8:30. And 8:45 should be the break time. We will have a break time from, let me see, to 8:30, let me see, 6:30, 8:30, 8:45, and 8 to 9 o'clock. Yeah, and at 9:15, or 9 o'clock, and 9 o'clock will be the end of the break. In other words, it will be 15 minutes after 8:45. And then from 9 o'clock, I hope we got my times correct here, but it's going to be all just a half an hour difference. From 9 o'clock to when we would close at 9 o'clock, we're going to close at 9:30. So however it takes you, that you're going to get a 45-minute Q&A. Okay? Question and answer session. And so we have a timer that's going to, of course, take us through the time element. And they will keep track of Dr. Blair and they keep track of me so that we don't overtalk. So, so even though we might get the time mixed up, because of the change, our timer got it in order. Is that right? It can be a little different, you know what I mean? But anyway, we're going to get that half an hour. Okay? So, now, there are vendors outside, both vegetarian and regular food, so you're aware of that because people have been eating since about 4 o'clock. So that's been working. And drinks, and should be books and videos and DVDs, for your access. Also, Dr. Blair's items should be out there too. If it's not out there, it's going to be out there because he has brought diodes in various situations which many of you come to understand what he has. We talked about that. Then we said about the 15-minute break and all that kind of thing, whereas that you can be able to feel more free to go out and see some of the things or buy some things, 15 minutes. And as well, we appreciate you giving the little donations where you can. You know, it's a free event. You don't have to. It's not obligated to do that. Nobody's going to force you to put anything in the box. I'm paying for this, and I don't need to have it recouped. I don't need to gain. So it's all in love. That's what it is. So I appreciate it if you want to do that. All that helps. Okay? So don't feel pushed with it, okay? Because as we go later on down the line, they might, after break time, something like that, they may push it through the baskets, through the lines and that kind of situation, you know what I mean? And so all you have to do is just pass them to somebody else if you don't have the money or decide to do that or whatever the situation is, okay? There can be no purchases after 9:30 now, because after 9:30 we're going to have to vacate the building, okay? And in the halls. And also, I don't think there can be any eating, there shouldn't be any eating inside here. Of course, no one told me that specifically, but I figured that might be the case, okay? So we'll just help out. We just see how things go. Okay? Also, if you have parked cars, vehicles in lot number 7, you're going to have to recoup that car before 9:50. Okay? Because 9:50 the lot closes. Those who paid $10, I think it was, to get lot number 7. Okay? And let's see. Now, men called griots have preserved the history of many of Earth's peoples for centuries. These men are living archives of oral history, masters of eloquence, repertories of secrets. They are preservers of the customs, achievements, philosophies, and traditions of African, Asian, Arabian, European, Caucasian societies. Dr. Delbert Blair is a historian, a lecturer, an engineer, a poet, a minister, a researcher, an educator, and a metaphysician. He applies the old tradition of the griots, along with extensive and pragmatic research. He is the founder, director, and chief consultant of the Meta Center located in Chicago, Illinois. Dr. Blair speaks comprehensively on over 100 different topics. Okay? He has hosted his own radio show and makes innumerable appearances on radio and TV talk shows. He is frequently invited to and has spoken at hundreds of universities, colleges, churches, prisons, organizations, public-private associations, and family gatherings. His area of expertise are ancient history, encompasses Kemetic, Moorish, and Inkalian, comparative religions. Holistic health, safety engineering, herbistry, monatomic and nano research, metaphysics, hypnosis, electronic disease, magnetic and diodes, mind investigative technologies, conspiracies, and UFO research. As a lecturer and presenter, Dr. Blair draws upon 45 years of extensive research and experience. His lectures and workshops have gained a reputation for being practical, dynamic, educational, multicultural, thoroughly satisfying, and sprinkled with humor. Many have stated, and we readily agree. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you one of the most awesome individuals I know, and I know a lot of people. I travel a great deal, and but to be besides a brother, you know, but it's just unequated with this brother, knows what he's about. So I get great proud, it's an honor to bring to you Dr. Delbert Blair.
Hi, and bear with me 1 second. Am I still on? Yeah. Want to get some of these papers together. It's been a very interesting day. I think it's pretty mildly, very interesting day, which somewhat I don't expect, but I always say, well, it might happen that way, and this is one of those days where it has happened. I want to start, so much I want to share with you tonight, and given the privilege to do so by Sarah, by Robert Urey, who I find to be not only a gentleman, a scholar, a person, very esteemed in my own mind. And I want to thank him very much personally for doing what he has done and bringing me here, and then also got a diode on it? Well, I'm going to look at it. Yeah, I don't use electronic or electrical gadgets without a diode. Fortunately, I've loaded up on my own body, so hopefully that's going to take care of all of that. But as I was saying, I want to thank very much Bob for extending me a wonderful stay so far. Hopefully the rest of the week will be accordingly so. And I want to thank also Terrence, who spent a lot of time with you today. He had to run back and forth, and that traffic out there on the highways, as you know, is something else. And then we had some extracurricular things in the hotel room, on the airplane. It got to be very interesting. And I want to also thank Derek for a wonderful evening last night, and all of you. I saw many people in the back that I hadn't seen in some time. Not that you're that old, but I am. And because of that, I want to say thank you. Some of you have journeyed from afar. I've held sessions and classes in New York, Pennsylvania, Newark, Chicago, Los Angeles, Texas, down in Austin, Canada. I've been at it for some time. So I just want to say thank you because you didn't have to do it, but I'm very happy that you are here. With that in mind, let me also say that we're going to cover a lot of territory. It's impossible to cover all the territory I want, but it's not impossible to say I'm going to at least hint at it and begin to not react, but act and react to where you may want to go with this. I will be doing something again tomorrow. I'm not going to say any more. I'll let Bob talk about that if he would, where it'll be strictly devoted to UFO ufology, flying saucers and little green men and little red giants and the whole bit, including a now 49-foot skeleton that they've unearthed in Nevada. You're probably not hearing about it. 49-foot skeleton. So a lot of the things we've heard about our planet is just beginning to understand. We didn't even begin to hear anything yet about this strange planet we're on. But tonight, I want to stay at what some call the more practical. I don't necessarily so, but I want to cover some things and then offer some solutions to some problems. And let me say at the onset here that there is no truth until you decide what truth is. Repeat that. There is no truth until you decide what truth is. And in this dimension, there is no truth until not only you decide what truth is, but your truth may not be my truth. And my truth may not be your truth. But that should not inhibit our search for the truth, nor diminish what is truth. For by holding on to these truths until greater wisdom manifests or supplants our present understanding of what is truth, may we ascend from involution by cycles into evolution by spirals toward ultimate truth, if consummate truth does ever exist. So we're not going to debate what is true and false, it's a matter of consciousness, but I'll say at this dimension, therefore, is no truth until you decide what truth is, because it's your mind that separates you from the Creator, or that you get closer to creative consciousness, which is everything we can imagine. To the degree that you agree or disagree with that, we're off and running. Hold on to your hats. I want to start off by saying that many people feel that things are just speeding by. I think time is speeding up on this planet. Many of you now say, wow, just wake up and it's over again. Remember again when you were believing in Santa Claus? Some people still do. And when you're looking forward to wonderful birthdays and presents, some people don't, of course, have to give them, they receive them. And when all these things were happening, time couldn't go by fast enough for that birthday or for Christmas to come. But if you're going to prison, if you're going to the gallows, if you're going to travel and do something you don't like, the time, of course, again, gets to be a whole different meaning. Most time is identified by how we think. And you can speed it up or slow it down almost at will if you can understand three things. You are not the body, you are not physical, you are pure mind energy, encased in the body for a short period of time to understand what you can do with it, and whatever you carry from this experience or brought into this experience will pretty much bring to light what's going to happen while you're here in transition. The things that are going to go on here, not tonight, but in general on this planet, are not going to be too nice. You already can see that, I hope. But there are many times that within the maelstrom there is pleasure that can be still gained, especially with love, with kindness, with proper eating, with proper understanding. You pretty much create your own reality daily by daily, and many people don't understand that. We have some creatures, people, consciousnesses who don't like happiness, that want to see things miserable, want to see things bad. So those who want things well, believe in a universal creator, believe that there is goodness and love, should express that at all times. And don't let anything else stop you from doing that, and especially in your own heart. Those who don't, they'll soon be taken care of anyway, because they're now writing themselves out of the pages of the booklet on this planet. You're going to see many deaths, some good, some bad, if death is ever good or bad. Prepare for that. But understand that what happens to others does not necessarily have to happen to you based on your consciousness, your understanding, your education, and more than that, your wisdom to do what you think and know you should do. Not talk about it, you got to do it. Now you got to walk the talk, not talk the walk. We have, in most major cities, and there are 252 major ones here in the United States, towers that are going up. They're everywhere. But they're all sizes. You've got the big ground wave antenna, 350 feet tall. It's called ground wave energy networks. And the government calls them something else. They're government highways, but supposedly it's things to help you get better and do things with it that you want to do. You've also got the little towers that relay for your cell phones. For those of you who recently have bought a car or have a company car or whatever again and have a GPS on there, you got a global positioning satellite built right into your vehicle. Okay? Now let me just say this now. In the tires that you have on that car, if it's over, 2 years or less, you have a chip on all those towers. On all those tires. If you have GPS, you have direct satellite communication that can follow you anywhere you are. Tell you where you are better than yourself. That's why you ask it to tell me, where am I and where am I going? Most of you have one of these in your pockets. If you do not have one of these little bumps on that thing, or something equal to that bump, I have two if you notice, you're really communicating with the other side of cancer, potentially. Because these devices, which are very convenient, expeditious if you're in business, or if you have a family or anything else, domestic or industrial, these are needed. But you also need something on them to control the demon, because it's a demon here. The demon can serve you, the demon can hurt you. It's up to your wisdom what you're going to do with it. You cannot turn these devices off. Oh, I turned mine off, put mine in my pocket. No, you didn't. It turns you on. The only way you turn off these devices is to take the battery out of them. Till you do that, they're always broadcasting. I repeat, always broadcasting. Always radiating. It's by your sex organ, it's radiating that. Men that have it in the pocket. It's in your purse, you're holding it, it's radiating that. If you use a device like this in a closed covering with metal, which is a car, truck, anything else, bus, whatever, it's now radiating the metal around you. And over a length of time, that metal will become fatigued and radioactive. You say one can't do it? It's not one. Because I'll bet you, I'd be willing to make that bet here, that more than half of you in here tonight either own one or have one on your body. It's another way of life. Well, if you have one on it, learn to get a diode and put it on there too. What I do is to put enough diodes on where I lose the signal, then I take them off. Then I know now I'm controlling those waves. Two from 9. One didn't do it. What this device does is to broadcast a frequency that is responsive to another frequency on whatever these devices you have. They're called microwaves. And you have on this planet electromagnetic fields. You have electrical broadcasting units. Our whole planet is made up of wavelengths. You're constantly living in a sea of wavelengths. If you could see them, you'd go crazy because you'd be trying to dodge like a bunch of laser beams. You walk through a sea of radiation. So you cannot avoid radiation and live on a planet, at least a planet like this one. I haven't lived on the other one remembering yet. So consequently, I will only say is, you have frequencies that you're walking through. Those that correspond with your body or your body can set up a defense for, or they're so fast, you don't even know you walk through them. You can live with that. But the ones that slow down, the extra low frequencies, the little elf, that's how I want you to remember this, extra low frequencies are the ones that can tear you apart literally and figuratively because they're slow propagations, what they call, used to be, when I was in school, they used to call them again cycles per second. Now they call them hertz. Same way of disguising the same subject. 5 to 15 hertz and lower is synchronized with your brain waves, sometimes your heart resonance, your blood pressure, the whole bit. That's why they can raise your blood pressure for you. But the doctor didn't tell you that when he's taking your blood pressure, did he? By the way, if you take blood pressure, you better take it 3 times a day. Don't take anybody's advice on just waking up in the morning and taking it, in the afternoon and take it at night. You got to take it 3 times a day, and you need to do it for 2 days in order to get a good blood pressure raising, because your food can raise your blood pressure. Your thoughts can always affect your pressure. That's what yoga show and martial artists show. You begin to control that. And anytime you have these gadgets around, they're always going to work with your blood pressure. They didn't tell you that either, did they? When you use this device, it takes the signal and it bounces it off something else synchronized, another one like this, to get that. But it works through what they call towers. And everything now is Wi-Fi. And he said, no, it's not a wife that I had or a wife that you have, it's Wi-Fi. Okay? But you can remember it that way if that helps. That means wireless direct. That means no cable. See, they got cables here now. Over there, the wire cable. By the way, those cables also emit energy too. You step over that now, you're stepping on the energy field. When you get wireless direct, you don't have to have a direct cable link. You have a energy that's speeding towards you and from you. Whichever way now, when you're using that, you're getting radiated. Again, 5 to 15 hertz synchronizes as low frequency microwave microwave emission. Microwave ovens is another one that uses that. If you notice the principle there, when you get hungry and you want to eat and you put something in a microwave oven, there's a klystron tube within that microwave oven. What it does now, if you notice, the plate in there is cold, but the food is warm. The food is warm because it has moisture in it. When you're drinking it hot or eating it hot, you're eating pure radiation because now that is what makes it hot. That's why the plate is cold and the food isn't. I always say give it to your best enemy or your worst friend. But I would use it myself. When you're eating that food, that is the propagation, that's the possibility. Also, usually, they're in kitchens. And in that kitchen, you usually will have a refrigerator. And there's always a bleed out of ions from that klystron tube, no matter what you do. They will say it's not, they know it isn't. And over a length of time, it will speed back to that coils behind your refrigerator. Then that coils, it's freon gas. Then that freon gas goes to your ice chest. After a year's time, your whole refrigerator is radioactive. And of course, the freon gas is in there. What can you say about it? But don't worry, that's just the beginning of the story. In your house, many of you have bedrooms. Some of you actually sleep. Well, next thing you're going to tell me you breathe, huh? Do some of you actually breathe and sleep? You do? Oh, you're going to be interested in what you're going to hear tonight. Your instinct. When we say breath, we're going to talk about biochemtrails. Remember to go back to that. Okay? Let's stay right now with dials. Those of you who are actually sleeping. Municipal law states that in your bedroom you need to have an outlet on each wall, so you can plug in whatever you want. If you notice most of the time, to try to train your bed, if you have even an average sized bed, see if you can face it north and south. You won't be able to, unless you move around everything in there. That's not by accident. Now, all of these walls that you have there have outlets on them. They're always active, because that's why when you plug something into it, unless your circuit breaker box or you got an old junction box, whichever again, you want it to go on. So it's always giving off energy. That energy comes out about that far in most of them. Some of them now, they come out that far. If you have a bed, metal or coiled springs and so near that, it's constantly receiving radiation. After a year, your coiled spring in your bed now are radioactive. Your electrical circuits that's now bleeding into that. Those ions travel. You know not to say ions follow streams. It streams right into what you're doing there. Whatever, no matter what you're ever doing in the bed, you're probably getting that. Right by it. Well, you heard that. You're wise. Believe me, you're wise. Sometimes, though, the biosphere is such that that's your best time anyway. There's a lot of radiation poisoning. However, usually there a wireless set, or some of you have it. You've now brought a tower from outside inside because it's Wi-Fi. You set your cell phone or your other towerless receiver, and it gets charged up. That's the same thing that the antennas are doing. You just brought one inside your house now, outside of the one that's out there. When you are, well, let's just put it like this. I want to go on this because I want to go into some other things. There's so much I want to share with you. When you're inside your car, truck, cab, over the hall, over, rig, whatever you're in a metal casing. Now, you get inside these vehicles, not to sit in their garage or on the street, to move them. So as soon as you turn on your motor, you got radiation being emitted by the armature on the motor. If you have an alternator in there, most of them do, you're also getting radiation emitted from the alternator. You got a firewall by all these LED leads and direct leads are, so now that's getting radioactive. And then you make a big, big, big decision. You say, I'm going to go somewhere in this thing. I'm going to drive. And you did. You just drove yourself, you just began to now do something that's going to be very interesting. You're going to drive that vehicle. So now your tires begin to rotate. When your tires turn, there's no ground. You broke the ground when your tires are turning. Now the only ground in there is you. Or your pet or livestock or whatever you happen to put in there. Dead stock, I hope not. But whatever is in that vehicle now is now subject to radioactivity and getting it constantly. If you have on FM or AM, notice the difference. When you pass into one of the towers, you say, boy, that's annoying. It sure was. You just got radiated. You heard the sound, but not the wave. The wave found you. And every time you hear that sound, that whole area now is under electronic impact. With the new safety laws, airbags, you got solid state welding now, so you can hold the airbag and take an impact. So much poundage per square foot. So now, that weld makes you in what they call a Faraday cage. Simply means you got something over the top, bottom, it's all metal, and you're grounded into it again. And consequently now, you're in a live radioactive cage to a degree. Think about this. The solid welds with the seat bags and so on again like this, or airbags and straps or restraining things, are metal. So the seat you're sitting on is welded to the metal of that vehicle, which means that your sex organ is getting radiated every time you drive. If you don't think anything about your brain, you might think something about your sex organ. I find people listen to that. When I say brain, you ain't got no brain. Well, no, your sex organ. Men especially don't like that. Women don't exactly like it either. Cervical and uterine potential cancers, uterine prostate, swelling cancers, all potentially there, simply because you're sitting constantly on something radiating your body. Soft tissue radiates faster than hard tissue. Water is a better carrier of all currents, rather than dry. When you're going to use these devices, we have solutions. And that's why I got into the fields of diodes. I've been in diodes now for 15 years. I was in magnetics for 29 years. I can talk about both. The diodes are my finding of a solution that I have used and therefore offer it to you to use. Hopefully you will find it of service. And we have 15 different kinds of diodes. We have diodes that you saw in here, the cell phone diode. We have diodes that will fit into your pocket, SIM pocket diode. We have diodes that go on the back of all those devices where the cord is that plugs into the wall. They're called appliance and equipment diodes. This is a diode you should be sitting on in your car or in your vehicle to stop that radiation from getting into your sex organ. You sit on it. You can watch the TV with it again. So I'm not going to get into all that. We will also have circuit breaker boxes diodes now. It worked for the company. It's not my company. It worked for the company for a long time to get one. They finally have made one you can put on the inside cover of your circuit breaker box and change the emitting of the frequencies, and yet all of your electrical things will still work, as well as your electronic things. When you use these diodes, it's not going to stop you from using your modem, your printer, your scanner, your monitor, any other thing. It's not going to stop you from watching TV. It just makes it a frequency that your body can adjust to. Your own electrical field can stabilize. And you've got these little plasma things now. That thing goes out, I understand, 15 to 17 feet. The rain around and stuff. So when you want to get into heavy electronic type waves, understand that you need to carry with you, like a carrier wave carries those frequencies, you need to carry with you something that can help you to use these things safely, or at least with intelligence. I want to talk also, again, a little bit about, while still on that idea, about electronic devices that are off the map as far as potential. I know everybody here is very sophisticated, very out of wisdom, else you wouldn't come to something that Bob Urey gave. Okay? Consequently, I'm going to ask you this. Anybody ever heard of HARP? If you have this, raise your hand. Oh, all right, I thought that. So I'm preaching to the choir. Although I'm no longer a practicing minister in a church, I still can get back to that pulpit sometime, but I want to teach, not preach. When you're finding HARP, High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, up in Dakota, Alaska, you're having 350-foot towers. Used to have 36 of them. And they broadcast billions. See, A-B, billions. That wasn't M, that wasn't a million, N, but that was billions of wattage of electricity into the air. They first designed it by saying it was supposed to be there to help communication over the curve of the earth with, again, military application, with platoons of men, whether it be on land or water, because the earth curves and you lose the signal, broadcast out. And then they said, so we broadcast this to a satellite and then broadcast it down to the frequency for troop maneuvers and so on. Then they say second application was to, when you're using the space shuttles and stuff, to use the energy payload of less degree, it costs less money, simply meaning to thrust a rocket burning carbonate fuel and so like that, bend it into the ionosphere so you can get off into space and go into the moon or wherever they say they're going. It took a lot of payload, it burned up a lot of fossil fuel. So what they did, they say, we will put this beam ahead. It will beam a hole into the ionosphere and atmosphere, therefore they don't have to use any payload until they get out to free space, and then they can burn it out there. Used to tell me though in free space there was no oxygen, so I don't know how they can burn it, but they say they are because they go in there every day, right? You didn't hear them, did you? Anyway, we won't go there because that means you might be thinking. You don't want to do that. That's dangerous nowadays. They found also that Russia, being of course in the Cold War, and two mighty powers that want to control the earth, Russia said, we got what I want too. And Russia also began to build one. I had a hard time finding it because I can't read Russian. I didn't know what to look for, but I found out the closest it comes down to what Russia has is called Elaha, electrified aero discharge. Elaha is near Minsk, and Elaha broadcasts frequencies twice the ability of HARP, and twice the ability of ISACAT. ISACAT? European Incoherent Scattered Radar Telemetry. That's the one the Europeans have. And they are also broadcasting through space. Scalar technology simply means, again, that a scaled attenuated laser emanated resonances that work on frequencies that can give you power as lasers, but they can mundane it enough, change it enough, where it can actually slow enough to burn your flesh, and then go high enough to burn your mind. You like those movies, you like to see that. When those little waves they shoot out in Star Wars and Star Trek, that's what they do. Those laser waves beamed up. Whole point is that they're using them for communication in the best stuff. And in using them for communications, this is a way of helping to get things through without a lot of distortion and wherever you go. Either beam them up to a satellite and bring them down, or send them out direct. HARP was recently, a year and a half ago, sold to the British. I say, no, you got a potential weapon of, no, you got a potential device of helpfulness, and you're going to give that to somebody that's a different country. Now, I understood it used to be a war here between England and the United States, between Britain and America, or whatever you want to phrase. Did that actually happen? It was. They celebrated recently, set up a lot of boom, some more bombs, huh? 252 sulfur-rated atmospheres after everybody wanted to celebrate what they just gave them back. Sometimes I say things I don't understand. You know that? Did you understand anything I just said? How many understood what I just said? How many missed it? When the Americans from Newgate, Marshalsea prison, debtors, indebted service mercenaries came over here from England and all, some of the church set out, the zealots and all the pilgrims, they all came up here to find a new world and to be free from all the domination of the federal feudal lords, right? Some of you didn't come that way, but that's what they tell me. You study it. You studied it anyway, right? Okay. So now, since they fought to be free of that, and even though now there's a coexistence, like they fought in Vietnam, they fought in Korea, but they're now getting along with each other, why can't we just get along? So we should. So therefore, your best potential weapon or helpfulness, you sell to somebody else because you want to make a profit from from people who invested in those kind of things, right? That's what you do with that, isn't it? So you do that. Okay. So now you got nothing, but they got it. They're in your atmosphere and in your hemisphere, controlling that kind of a potential. So I said, well, we do everything else, control the money, everything else, so why not control that too? So I said, that's good. I find out, however, though, that the government does have other installations, so don't feel so bad. You don't control that either. When we're looking at all of this now, we've got towers in the sky. These towers are emitting all kind of power everywhere. And that power is on an electrical circuitry. They're electrical waves. Our planet seemingly likes magnetic frequencies more than electrical frequencies. Most creatures that have souls and brains like magnetic more than electric. Why? Because electrical varies in intensity, AC/DC. It fluctuates, it's not one true power. And your body is therefore always trying to adjust to the electrical propensity rather than following a very positive or negative magnetic frequency. People who are spiritual, people who want to be restful, people who are calm and balanced like magnetism. That's why when you sleep in a magnetic field, you rest better. Magnets turn your blood cells, red blood cells, around to face one direction. And your red blood cells is what carries oxygen. So therefore, you can get a better usage of oxygen for whatever reason when you breathe. You all said you did that, I remember that. And when you're doing that now, you can get a better portion of usage of your oxygen in your breath and so. So when you use magnets or sleep in a magnetic field, your body heals faster because oxygen will help you to heal. The white blood cells, of course, are there to defend you. The macrophage is in there and all the different immune things. So when you cut yourself or you sprain or something, it swells on up because the white blood cells rush there to first defend against any kind of diseases or parasites or germs, and then you begin to heal. Well, when you use magnets, the swelling doesn't take place. As soon as that happens, and I see many of you in the sports, I like sports too, I understand, go Phillies, huh? The Cubs are their issues, you know the world's coming to an end. I mean, you know things are really, you can see things are happening that are really out the box. Out the box, that's where we all are. So at any rate, when you're using these kind of magnetic propensities or magnetic frequencies like this, you put the magnet, when you get your injuries, sports injuries. I've been trying to get these teams to use it. One team took it, didn't use it long. I won't even go into the name of that. But if they would start, instead of putting the ice bags in cold, hot and cold applications, which is primitive, get a strong Gauss magnet and wrap it around there, there's no swelling. You begin to heal immediately. Because the white blood cells don't have to go down there, because no bad bacteria or virus that we know of can live in a strong magnetic field. Heard that, right?
Yes,
sir. One time only.
Right.
So, put the magnetic on here, and healing starts, no swelling. In fact, drinking magnetic water, depending on the Gauss of the magnet you're using, the strength of the field in your blood, can also be very interesting on things that you can do. That's why I got in the field of magnetism. I always try to find a good spiritual creative way, through the Creator, of using these things, not the other applications, which I well understand too. But the magnets can help your blood. The magnets can help you to heal. The magnets can help you to stop swelling. The magnets can help you to diminish pain. That's why we've got 39 different kind of magnets. On your back, your feet, many people, of course, you get rid of the little diodes that you put in the soles. You also can put magnets down there in the soles. For your back, head, arm, flex, any joint, use magnets. The magnetic field helps your body to heal itself. It's working with your body. It is probiotic. Probiotic. I know probiotic and those acidophilus and all like that. I'm not naive. But it's pro because it's for. Anti means what? Yes. Oh, so why do you want to have an antibiotic? Huh? Just usage of words like HARP, acronyms, oxymorons, all this thing, you know. Oxymorons, a little bull fed that you like. Huh? Okay, I'm not going to repeat some of these. I like this one. I just keep you laughing while I'm also teaching, so I don't have to be preaching that way. Other than that, you might not like me. Might not like me anyway, but I can't help that. Third thing that I got very much into was monatomic gold and nanotechnology. Nanotechnology means very small technology. It means things that are so small that you have to look under microscopes or even electron microscopes to see them and see what they can do. The whole world is the nano world. This is something fairly new, but going very fast, very far, very quickly. Nanobots, nanotechnology. How many watched Star Wars and watched Atlantis, or what is the new thing, Atlantic thing, and all this kind of stuff? Any of you watch any of that? Yeah. So then you know more about that than I do. We can talk about those little things that run all around that are so small, and they have the ability, they say, to rebuild themselves. Rebuild themselves, work together in clusters as though they were intelligent, and do things on a microchip, on a micro world that we used to say didn't even exist. Well, nanotechnology is there too. But you see, somebody called a creator was making nanotechnology a long time ago before mankind and human and man began to make the other kinds. So we have a whole world of the small out there that we're just beginning to get into now. Just beginning to understand a little bit about. It's all in your blood, it's all over your body. Some of them even called parasites if they grow big enough. When they lay their eggs, they can begin to host you just like you're being hosted. No, that didn't come out right, did it? Sometimes my tongue says things my mind wishes my brain hadn't told it. But I want to go through that again for you because I want you to remember that. You have a universe that you're within, and it's within you. We're trying to understand the one that we're within. We seem to not want to understand the ones that are within you, because that's the temple that you're supposed to be masters and gods of. Therefore, you'd have no excuse if you did that. But you have a whole world of little things living within you, some of which, when they get pretty big, are called parasites. And these parasites love electrical propagations because they love the way it's going to kill your cell and kill your cell governor, and they can then breed in it. When you get it balanced, now they start giving you orders. You know, some of the big granddaddy of the parasites, and I know we're still talking about magnets. We're going back to nanotechnology too, but I want to show how the cell ties into you. when you get enough of those things within there, they grow big, and then they call them like worms, Solaris worms. You know, when you get a colony of Solaris worms, you start craving everything they want you to eat so they can eat you. They secrete an enzyme or a fluid that will have you craving things. Some people wonder why they're full of parasites. They want sugar, they eat sugar, and they can't understand it, even though they know they couldn't have a craving. They're secreting things to make you eat what they want. That's what a parasite can do. You get enough of them in there. Say, well, I go to the bathroom once a day, even though I eat 4 times. I go to the bathroom 7 days a week, you know, that's now 49 times that I ate. But anything like that. But most of us have them. Some of them are bred in, some are just happen to colonize. So you're always on the defensive, living and eating the way we're going now. In the small world of nano, there is now coming a crusader. It's called monatomic gold. Mono means one. For those of you who are really very intellectual and have studied and so on like this again, they're saying now colloidal liquids are the easiest way to assimilate things rather than have them break down by gastric juices and in your pancreas and all like this or from the stomach. But then you have to go into a second stage called ionic. Many of the things that we have on the internet, when you see it, they're ionic, if not colloidal. Ionic means it's even smaller and easily assimilable than colloidal is. So that means you're intelligent. You're using that because it's easily assimilable by the body. But now we're getting monatomic, which means just one little atom makes it almost not existent. The only thing from it just being free in space to going is a mono. Monatomic gold is pure gold on a high wavelength. And when it is in your body, or wherever you're going to use it, it speeds up the energy receptivity of that cell that is in or near. It can have the potential of making you almost like a god in one sense. Notice how I use it. I said, like a god. Now let me explain something right there because they're going to run out here. That fool not only says the rest, but then he got on religion. All because I said the word God. Let me explain my God, which may be your God and maybe not. Because I don't want that fool to even enter to all other things I'm telling you tonight. You know, harp on the one thing for controversy because they don't like what I'm saying. So let me clear this up now. So you can tell them that's not what Brother Blair said. I believe in a universal creator. I believe in many gods. I believe in many gods because you are all gods yourself, you just don't know it yet. Then there are those who are less than gods because they don't want to be God-like. And that's a whole different thing. So when I said that, that was not a put-down of God. That was a verification and verification of God and the Creator. I just used the word creator. So please, don't put me on a rack on that one, right? Now let's get back to our point, monatomic gold. When it's in a cell, it has up to 121 megahertz of energy that's with it. And when you can encapsulate it, as the company that I work with does, it can raise it up to 121 megahertz potential, and no virus or anything else is going to be able to live in that kind of a field. Most of them can't make over 101. So when you get that, you have now almost ability of being germ and virus free. I said almost. The problem is there's so many of them and they're constantly coming at you, and most people have not even heard about the gold. And unless you're fasting and really strong, the gold can also do you harm. Let me explain why that is. If you're a god, eat the food of the gods. If you're a demon, eat the food of the demons. But don't play demon and God at the same time. You get in trouble. And either going to be one or the other. Don't lie, don't play to yourself. If you're going to get clean, clean. If you're going to stay dirty, dirty. But don't get some clean and some dirty, because now the dirty and the clean don't know what to do. So they say, you can't sit on the fence in this age. straddle it, but when they both fall on your legs at the same time, you're in deep trouble, aren't you? Huh? Can't ride it. You gotta choose your side. Whatever side, that's up to you. But when you choose or don't choose, it'll be chosen for you. The monatomic gold has such a high potency of energy, 121 megahertz capsulated, that most of the blood there is going to start cleaning itself up. Most of your cells are going to try to go back to being very efficient, specialized cells that they were created to produce, and you can begin to help yourself to get better with it. While on that, I want to jump to what I call green is green and green is good. And that is your alkaline pH factor. 7 is your reference point. Below 7 on your pH factor is acid. Above it is alkaline. Magnetic and electric, all over again. You got so much electricity on this planet now, we just talk about the towers. I haven't gone to the thing I'm going to end with again. So it's always trying to make you acid because that's what it's doing to the cells. The cells are having to use all their reserve to fight against the acidity and the electrical propensity of those fields that are now being generated to it. So your cells already being overworked. If you add the magnet to it, magnetic devices and things like that, sleeping on a magnetic thing and drinking it, you're helping that by pH factor. Now they have scripts that you can go and get at pharmaceuticals. Sometimes they won't sell it to the public unless you've got a prescription to buy something else, but you can always go to a pet store. What do you think? A lot of your pets. Nice boy, nice girl, yeah. One man's pet is another one, well, whatever. Yeah. Every category, I'm not creating it, I just study it. It's amazing to me, this planet. So you can get that there to test your water so that your fish can live, and you might test yourself in the meantime if you choose to take the time to do it with someone you love. If you don't love yourself, then love them enough. Keep it above 7, you're usually in a pretty safe condition. If you don't, well, then you'll be like most of us. But if you do want to be out of the sheeplehood and start doing it yourself, then you want to go into that factor. Those are your green things. Your chlorella, your spirulina, your dulse, your barley, your wheatgrass, heavy green things. You don't want them all to come from the land because the land now is getting somewhat messed up. You don't want them all to come from the water because the water now is getting somewhat messed up. But somebody's messing up water, land, air, and you too. So you're going to have to do for self again and speculate where the origin is and how safe you think it is. We think we got a pretty good product. That's up on the net too. It's called Daily Energy Greens. It's got 38 different kind of greens of their affiliates to keep you alkaline. Those of you who say you're going to use a juicerator and run your carrots and your turnips and run your celery and run your beets and run your all these kind of things, but never get around to it. Well, I had a buddy who used to have a badge, had a big yellow thing with a smile on it. He said, what is that? He said, it's around to it. I'll wear it because nobody ever gets there. But one day I'm going to get around to it. Well, hopefully your days will be very quickened on the land that thy God gave it thee, and that you'll be able to wear around to it. Because if you don't get around to it pretty soon, you're not going to be able to wear it very often. You did? Okay, I didn't even realize. Take a vote that time. I'd like to make you think, and I make you think it makes me feel good, because I want you to always think. Think about what I'm saying, everybody else thinks. Don't believe anything I heard you. It's not my truth. It might be your truth. It might be your truth. It might be my truth. But I want you to think. Don't stop thinking. Always do so. Oh, gotta stop washing my mouth now. All right, let me finish up one point now. The saliency of this is simply that. Monatomic gold can help your cells to speed up and do like they're supposed to do. It maintains the cell governor and the cell integrity. Around all cells is a membrane. That's short for memory brain. All these people now are worried about mitochondria, worried about specific cells, and we can even get into that too. You know, with the cell regeneration, you got enough cells right in your own bone marrow to manufacture everything you need if it's good and if you already understand wisdom. If not, you better get the babies and fetal and everything else to do what you want to do for self. But you can't. Because the cells have a memory. And even if the cell governor is gone, which they're not seeming to think about, the cell still has specific mitochondria, little things within it that will still make that cell try to do what it wants to do, especially if you have a pineal gland and melanin. You know I shouldn't have gone there, but I don't want you to leave, I want you to come back. We talk about colloidal, we talk about gold, we talk about ions, we talk about magnets and magnetics, we talk about diodes. Does each one understand at least basically what a diode will do? Raise your hand. Put it down. Thank you. What a magnet will do? Raise your hand. No, you're not expert. Put it down. Colloidal, gold will do? Good. We covered something. Now I don't mind taking a break. Before I take the break, let me just simply say, there's much more to come if you want. I talk on a lot of subjects, so I'm speeding through a lot to try and see better where we should take a rest on it. I do say this, I am a man of the Creator. I understand why I don't say God, okay? I do believe in a universal Creator. I do believe that this planet can be good. I do believe this planet was designed to be good. I do believe that there's a lot of bad because people are not thinking for themselves, they're not using spirituality, and they're scared. They say it's the only one way you're going to get off this planet. I don't know if that's true or not, but they say you're going to die. So how you live before you die means if you think there is an afterlife, you want to get yourself straight. Stop being scared. Whatever you scared of, whatever you feared of, you will bring to you. You don't have to worry about it because it's going to find you. Why? Because you use heart to directly communicate with it and you want what it's going to bring in. Not going to protect yourself against a bad wave, because you're not going to emanate it yourself. You're going to be victims rather than providers, rather than stabilizers. Give up the fear. You only die once. How you die is more important than when you die. And what you do between death is all important, because now I let you know whether you qualify for the afterlife that your church tells you're going to go to. And that's when I will talk about religion, okay? Thank you very much. We're going to take a break.
Way he wants to continue whatever he has to say, because anything that he says it's great for us to hear. So we realize that, okay? So here he goes, Dr. Delbert Blair. I present him again to you. Okay?
Wow, you love me. Did I understand I wasn't talking loud enough, or you couldn't hear me in the back? Can you hear me in the back better now?
This one right here. This one right
This is the one. Okay. No wonder you're getting this shut out. Okay. Now you can hear me then. How do I put these two together? Is this better? Now everybody can hear? Okay, this is one showing my ugly face, which all right. Okay. I hear you. Okay. From the things that you said up at the table, there are many questions you have, which we're going to have to wait to get into because I still want to cover some of the other. And there are many comments that you made are very interesting to me, too. See, where do I begin? The idea of the monatomic gold is one that has a long history. Some have referred to it as the great white powder, and of course when you say that you think about heroin, crack cocaine. That's not what it is. I don't do drugs. I took the last aspirin I took, I was 12 years old, so I don't even take aspirin, so none of that is my thing. But the gold does come in a powder, and it comes in a liquid, and it comes in a spray. It's so small that it works on the subtle body. It simply means it works almost on your mind and the mind of your cells. Now that sounds kind of different. Basically, and I'm not going to go into phrenology, nor am I going to go into physiognomy class and like this. You got two hemispheres to your brain, and you've got what they call a logical brain and a right brain, a so-called a serialistic brain. Okay? One has, it's about like a giant UFO. Remember that one. The other one's like a toy train. We honor the toy train and forget about the UFO. Just that simple. And that's almost true in life too. The logical brain, the L brain, is the one that's pragmatic, lets you know, do this, don't do that, remembers all the things, keeps track of all the guest lists and the taxes and everything else. The other one out there doesn't even work. It's like it doesn't even work until you get it on top of a mountain and release it. It's called the right brain. It's called the brain of comprehension. It's composed of all kinds of compartments, but the whole point is, one lets you understand the cosmos, the firmament, the galaxy, the nebulae, the solar systems. The other one lets you understand the room you're sitting in. We honor the room we're sitting in, we forget the cosmos. So once you begin to expand your consciousness and use the cosmos, there's nothing you can't do. So while in these physical bodies, that might not be the case. You may be limited. But even with the physical body, there's so much you can do with it if you understand that you are open to the cosmos and you're just simply using it what's happening to be now in Delbert Hall. Think of that whenever you say, I can't do something, or it can happen, or it might happen. It will happen if you want it to. It's just a matter of when. And time is something you can also control pretty soon. So explain. When you're really on fire, really anxious, really hyper, whether it be love, whether it be money, whatever turns you on, you're anxious. You're giving life to yourself. You're morose, you're down, I can, it won't, and stuff. You're dealing in a form of death because you're no longer enjoying what you're having. Remember, you can control all of that. What you build around you is what you think. What you think is what you build around you. I like to refer to a laboratory rat. You got a big table in a big surgical room or a big laboratory experimental room, and there's a maze set up on that table. And they have a lab rat, and all these lab techs are around watching lab rat. In the center of it, of course, is the cheese or something that the rat wants. And then they start off the other side of the maze. Well, this maze is topless. It's just got big corridors. So one day, the rat's going along this maze, trying to follow the sit to get to this big pot of food and so on and so forth. It stops, gives a thought using its left brain, and then it says, wait a minute, why am I going to do this? It looks up, and it sees light. You notice when it moves down the pit, the light seems to change. So it says, I wonder what's up there. Then it looks over and it sees a couple of faces it's been seen. And one day it says, I'm not going for this food at the end of the rainbow. I'm going to get out of here now, and it leaps up. And when it leaps up out of the maze, all the lab techs start running. Because the rat had finally understood that the maze was only something within his mind. About 4 years, take that back, time flies. About 1999, just before the big 9/11 stuff, 1999, they had two cattle that were going to slaughter. Of course, following a little goat or whatever it is, lead them to the slaughter pen again. But these cattle had been obviously communicating, because halfway down there, one broke left, one broke right. Your right is my left is your right, right? And that's left. It was left, there was no cows, no cattle, they were gone. They crashed through the barriers and ran on out. One got caught. The other one actually hid out for 6 hours. Now, that cattle now has a statue, has a big graze, a place you can go graze, make love all day long if he or she wants to. A monument was set up for that cattle. The only difference between that cattle and the rest of the cattle is that it chose to think and work in unison with another cattle to both break left and right. Why was all that necessary? Simply saying, am I calling you cattle? Am I calling you an amaze? Am I calling you dumb? Because I'm the dumbest person ever around. That's why I keep trying to learn, so I'll not be dumb. I'm simply saying, you make or break what you want. And if it always is coming out bad, it's because something you're not doing, and don't blame anybody else but yourself. There's something you're not doing. There's something that you're out of tune with. All of these things that I'm telling you about tonight, all of these support things to try to find solutions to the problems are only as good as you who wear them, use them, think about them. Because in the final analysis, you are your worst enemy and your best friend. Now, you've heard this before, so I'm not going to get into a big philosophical discussion. You're not going to church. You're simply saying to you, the power for whatever you want is within you. If it's not there, try to get more of whatever it is you want by then serving the person that gives it to you, or the creator that gives it to you. You're never alone. You're always in a universal mind field. You're in somebody's mind. You're in some energy field. There's no such thing as a misappropriately and misname it empty space. Even in between the ears, there's not empty space. There's always something going on everywhere you are. You are never alone. You can't be alone because it's too much. Wavelengths and frequencies unimaginable to the millions of milliseconds are always out there vibrating. It's just a matter of which ones can you tune to. In order to tune to it, you have to be able to think about it. Whatever you think, it can be. Because we're on the bottom of somebody's genetic pool. Let's put it a different way. We are on the bottom of a sea of energy. Think of the ocean with little jellyfish and stuff floating on the top, and then you get all the way down to the clam diggers, the shrimpers, and everything else is on the bottom. We're on the bottom. That's what they call physical. And they make another oxymoron. Physical reality. Ain't no such thing. If it's physical, it ain't real. But to us, physical is the only real. That's why I say the seen never controls anything. The unseen always controls the seen. When I was in basic physics, they told me, so basically, no two things can occupy the same space at the same time. The body put in motion tends to stay in motion. Oh, that's a lie. That's the biggest lie the professors ever told me. But I said, no two things can occupy the same space? No, only made 100 million things can occupy the same space. All right, let me not go that far out. Up to 12 things can occupy the same space at the same time, but not on the physical plane. Because now you're talking about dimensions and you're talking about vibrations. The faster a thing vibrates, it interfaces with something that vibrates slower all the way down to what you call solid as a rock. And now you see these Zen artists again, those senseis and so, cracking a brick with their head. That's something to do with your head anyway, huh? Might as well crack it. We don't use our anyway, do we? So we might as well crack bricks with it, right? Solid is only as solid as you think it is. But once you've been taught that a thing is a certain way, it's hard to change. Hear that one? If you're told that thing is solid, it's solid. And because you made it solid, at the same time you're trying to act like it's not solid, you're going to be in trouble. I've seen some of the Hunzas and stuff. I've been there to see some of the Rishi people. I see people do things I didn't think they could do because they were never told they couldn't do them. Therefore, what is a way of life for them is a catastrophe and a monumental craziness if I try to do what they did because I was not on the same wavelength. Same bodies, different minds, different thoughts. So I'd like to talk like this and say that the mind is to the spirit as the brain is to the physical body. The mind is to the spirit as the brain is to the physical body. People say, I'm losing my mind. You lost your spirit. People say, oh, I can't think like that. That hurts my head. If you think you get a headache, you need to take some of my supplements. Lots of my supplements. You should never get ill from thinking. And if you are, you need more brain food. You need more thought food. When a person is thoughtful, it means that they are full of thought. And if your thoughts are good, then your thoughtfulness will show in the good things. You can have thoughts that are bad, and it will bring as much to you as the other one will. It's wherever you focus your vibration. Low things, bad things, have a low rate of vibration, generally speaking. Good things have a higher rate of vibration, generally speaking. If your thing is physical only, and you're dwelling only on the physical plane, then you will learn to assimilate, digest, and associate with things that are on the physical plane. Change your thoughts, change your vibrational rate, then your body will begin to do things that you thought it couldn't do. Because now you think it can, and therefore it will be able to be done. They talk about 7 heavens and 7 hells. No, I'm not going to go into that. Somebody mentioned that. That's just too wide a territory, because I'm already worried now about the other things that I said about God the Creator. So I'm not going to dare go into that one. But do understand that I'm not going to ever hurt you knowingly, and I'm not going to ever lie to you knowingly. If I told a lie because I didn't know it, tell me, and then therefore the lie will not repeat itself. I'm always searching. I never know it all, but I always want to know it all, and that's the big difference. I want to know. So as I want to know and the things check out, this is what I do when I lecture and talk. I share what I've found out to be true, and again, there's no truth to you. Decide what truth is. Our planet at this time is going through a big change. I understand that our planet is trying to go from the 3rd dimension to the 5th dimension. And that's why when the 5th dimension came out in the 70s, they were ahead of their time. Way ahead of their time. And that's why they're noted for about 5 cuts, but the one that they stayed with at all was the one who was given they were fortune tellers. When they were, what is the moon is in the 7th house, and Jupiter aligns with Mars, and people come to our planet. That was what they were formed for. The Creator gave them other things to let them make money, but they were the awakeners. A group that would never go old. Earth, wind, and fire. Because everything that they did was futuristic. Because the future is now. Okay? How the old axiom go, that statement again? Today is the yesterday you dreamed about tomorrow. Whatever is present and wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. I am there. The I am present. This is nothing to do with religion. I'm not selling you any religion. I don't even get into that. I'm saying again, wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. And wherever you are is where you can begin to do more or less, depending on what you decide in your mind. If our planet is going from the 3rd to the 5th, as I believe, then if you're going to stay alive on a physical body, you're going to have to do a lot of change. Because you can't dwell right now in the 5th dimension. That's why you're 3rd-dimensional people on a 3rd-dimensional planet. That's why if the planet is destroyed, you will cease to exist on the planet. But you'll still be here. Yeah. Wisdom speaketh from the mind when he doesn't know what he's talking about. Now, let's go another way again. You are built to stay on a 3rd-dimensional frequency planet. Your mind is built to live in the cosmos. Your mind is in your body, associated with your brain, but you are not. You are in your body to learn. Now you say, well, now you're really getting way out. Yeah, I was going to go there, but I'm going to take you with me on this one. You're going to be able to easily follow me, because now I'm going to break it down so everybody can understand. When you get all of this exasperating thought going on, tonight you go home and you'll do what? You'll go to sleep. And I'll ask you, where do you go when you go to sleep? And you say, I don't know, but I know if I don't do it every 72 hours, if they find people on guard doing everything else, you go to sleep standing up, you go to sleep holding your rifle, you go to sleep holding your baby, you go to sleep. You will sleep every 72 hours, and if it puts you on drugs so you can't, you'll go crazy. You must sleep every 72 hours. Where do you go when you go to sleep? You go off the 3rd dimension into at least the 4th dimension every night or whenever you go to sleep. And you take it for granted, and in fact, what do? You look forward to it. Because it helps your stupid, crazy, messed up bodies, those crazy thoughts and those virulent, poisonous, acidous conditions, to heal themselves. Now, I didn't call you stupid, I said your bodies. You're not your body, right? So I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to your body. Watch what I say. I like to tease you. I want you to think dimensionally. You go to sleep because toxins, poisons, acids, thoughts food, or drugs have now built up in your body and you're tired. If you're an open vessel, you never get tired. But because you are not the body, you get tired of being in the body, and you must become free. Did you hear me? If you are not the body, what are you? Spirit, soul. If you believe you're spirit and soul, then you must understand when you lose your mind, you're losing your spirit brain. So you have to keep control of your brain so you can find your spirit. Or else you both might get lost. Yeah? Okay. All right. You are a spirit with a mind, experiencing something you said you needed and somebody else thought you better have it. And the better you find out what you're here for and do it, and stop listening to others tell you when you can't, the freer you'll be, the more spiritual you'll be, and then you'll be successful and can help others. Because if you help yourself and don't do it, you go do it again anyway, but it's there to share. Whoever gets there first is supposed to reach back and help. Or watch where they are and learn better where they are, and then therefore they don't have to repeat it again. Life is very simple. The Creator is very simple. Man is very complex because man lies. And when you lie to yourself, you lie to anybody. We're living in a sea of lies on a third-dimensional planet. We're trying to go where truth is and expand our consciousness. And if you want to keep the physical body, you're going to have to change your ways. What is a man who is a very pygmy of, I don't even know what to call him. I'm looking at the man in the mirror, asking him to change his ways. Here's an example of a man who's not white, black, yellow, or brown, who's universal, whose music gets to everybody of all ages, and he can create it just like that. But he got so multiplexed that in his childhood, when he needed it the most, he didn't have it. He's been trying to rebuild that all his life. But that's what geniuses are. Geniuses come in all sizes, forms, fashions, and religions. But you're a genius yourself. You're a genie, a genius in your gene pool. And your gene pool is now trying to expand on the helixes to make you more than you already are, but no more than you could be. I like to make learning easy, so forgive me. That's not an evil thing. I'm just glad because you're now thinking with me again. Your pure mind, wrapped in something they call a spirit or a soul. You came into the physical plane. That's why this planet was chosen for you, and that's why you came to it. In my Father's house there are many mansions. Do you really think that in the Milky Way galaxy alone, now understand this, I can't count too well, so you have to help me along with this. You see if you can, if I get lost. Okay? You got 1, okay? And you got 100, and you got 1,000, and you got 1,000,000, and you got 1,000,000,000, then you got a decillion, then you got a nonillion, octillion, and it just goes on and on and up. In the Milky Way galaxy alone, there are like 1,000,000,000,000 different planets. No, I'm sorry, suns. Suns. Around these suns there may be planets. Now, out of all of that, just in the Milky Way galaxy, which is like, here's this one now, which is like a drop of dirt in your backyard. And you think you're the only intelligent life form? The only intelligent? That word right there makes an oxymoron. On this planet, where is the intelligence? I'm still looking for it. When they first launched the satellite, all the way back here, I think it was 1962 or something, and it read back and it said, as it looked back, it said, there can be no intelligent life on this planet. And they said, that satellite is all messed up. I think the satellite was very smart. You know, what is intelligence? Fighting wars, giving people shots that they know are no good, lying, cheating, taking drugs. I mean, that's intelligence. If that is, then that's the intelligence that this planet wants to lose. Because this planet says there's got to be more, and I want to be a little bit more. I paid my duty, paid my penalty. I want to go to sleep. So it can free itself of what it really is. So I'm simply saying this. If time is speeding up, you have to speed up. The things we talked about at the beginning are three things, and there are many more, but three basic things I think can help you to get there. The diodes to protect you from the radiation which is holding you back, threatening your physical body, causing you to have all kind of traumas mentally and all, and causing you pain, because pain is a way of getting your attention. Something is wrong. The magnets, which can help you to heal faster, to put more oxygen to the red blood cells, to help you to have the hormones in your body and all function on a faster rate of body, and your glands doing the same thing. And the monatomic gold, the diodes, diodes and magnets, the monatomic gold to help those cells to speed up faster without burning themselves out. It's giving you the kind of fuel that those cells will need in order to do the things you want. The green things, of course, are your heating. They're photosynthetic also. We need green chlorophyll. The plants are photosynthetic. They take sunlight, break it down into energy, and use it as power. Now, here's where we're going to go. You have a pineal gland up in what is called the hypothalamus portion of your brain. You have also sharing that throne of power what is called a pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is what now your physiologists and physical science teachers and so on and so forth call the master gland. I say, how can it be the master gland when it's getting its marching orders from the pineal gland? Let that particular pituitary gland operate without the pineal gland, and you get mankind. Let it work with both out, you get human. And to make sure that all that functions like it should, you have sitting on top of the spine your reptile brain. The first thing that your energy, the sap of life, has to go through is through the reptile to see if it can get to the L brain or the right brain. And if it says no, you go back to the basic 4 F's. Feed, flee, fight, and fornicate. You thought I was going to say something else, like all those rappers do. Well, hip-hop. No, I can use intelligence and still be hippish and hoppish. But you know, that's all that brain does. And that's all now they're trying to get you to do and be. Feed, flee, fight, and fornicate. When you get past the reptile brain, now you open into the land of Oz. And if you don't get caught following the yellow brick way and all the other yellow things and hoppies and poppies and everything else, you might get to see the master of Oz, the wizard, the wise one, because he and she is up there at the same time ruling you. It's just a matter you didn't go to that session, you went to the other ones and got sidetracked a little bit. So as you journey into Oz, you're now journeying into Oz-like, and backwards Oz is Zo. With 2 O's is a zoo. So whether you stay on one or the other, it's just a matter of what journey and what trail you're going to take. The planet is chosen to take her trail now. It's going to be a female incarnation. And that is, you're going to have to speed up your vibrations, eat right, think right, and try to do right. You're going to find all kind of opposition at this time for anybody that tries to do that. Because that reptile brain and the dracons that it represents don't want this planet to go up there, because if it does, they can't go with it. And then the biggest food source, mentally, physically, and spiritually, you will be gone. The biggest food source, mentally, spiritually, and physically, will be gone. He said, nobody can eat me. Nobody can eat me mentally or physically or spiritually. Well, yes, they can. Because your life force has a certain vibration. You get it too clean, it's like, again, if you eat something too dirty, it'll mess over you. When you're vibrating in a certain way, you have energies that's going through you that some creatures can't stand. Your best protection is how fast you vibrate. Because it's like some of these little, they got a cockroach, they got a spider, and they got some kind of a fly that everything can eat. But it gives off a nasty vibration and a poison and a smell, and most of the big creatures leave it alone because it's not worth the effort. Stomp it maybe, but that's about it. They're not going to eat it because the vibrations are so out of tune with what that creature can eat that it can't eat them anymore. You look around on this planet, you see dragons everywhere. Municipal buildings, libraries. I'm not going to go too far, but I'm going to go far enough. Your libraries, your mountains, pagodas, indigenous people's things, the ziggurats down in Tiahuanaco and Uxmal and Cecil, Chicanissa, stepped ziggurats, where it used to be down there for certain reasons. They had a movie that they made, really, apocalyptic. Just say that my friend there, he's not really my friend, I'm just saying, he always goes there, but he always goes there a little bit late. So there, you had your ziggurats. Pyramids that the dragons used to land their craft on top of and walk down the causeway. On the other end, over in Egypt, a place they used to call Africa, misnamed, you got your equilateral triangle, a whole different kind of structure, another pyramid there. One was to radiate energy to other planets that had pyramids, and to say that there was at least a structure now that the wise ones had built, which this planet now might be able to have higher frequency. The other one said, I don't want it happening, so we're back here to eat the people up some more, scare them to death. And so you had the opposite ends, two different kind of structures. One that the gods could travel with, and one that the Creator wanted. One that could lift you to high consciousness, and the other could lift you to the consciousness where you're just enough to be eaten successfully. Apocalyptic shows what they call the people, the Aztecs and all, who were sacrificing. And of course, we're all looking forward to 2012, the end of the Mayan calendar. I don't know what all that's about, because I sure don't understand the consciousness about this. First of all, the word pyramids was a Greek word. It meant that went straight up, pyramus. There were no pyramids before the Greeks named them, but the structures were there. They were called mirrors. There were mirrors on Mars, mirrors on the moon, mirrors on Earth, mirrors on Venus, mirrors on Pluto, mirrors on Saturn, and all its 12 rings and all its many planets within it, some of which you'll begin to see because they're in a higher vibration than you are at this time. Either believe the Greeks only or understand what the ancestors used to say about mirrors. They're not pyramids, they're mirrors. Pyramus and pyres to burn on something going straight up like a spigot, and you're still going to spigot it, and they eat you still. Not the Greeks, but the people by which that language was developed. 325 AD, when, after sacking Persepolis, Alexander the Great came into Egypt. His name was not Alexander the Great. It was Alexander from Macedonia. And he was not Richard Burton and Shakespeare and actor playing the part. Okay? These were people that nobody even knew what they were talking about. But they learned one thing. They better learn quickly, because if not, they were going to get eaten, beaten, or smitten. All right, smitten. Whatever. So here they were. They didn't know what they were saying, and that's where the term "it's Greek to me" came from. Because nobody knew what the heck they were talking about. But they knew that they were nasty, eating, fighting people. They couldn't read in general. They couldn't write, and they had no religion. That's why they built the great Alexandrian Library. You couldn't read, couldn't write, had no religion. Right? That makes sense to you, doesn't it to me? Huh? The great temple of On and the school and research center at On, which people from around the earth had been traveling there for the longest to see, was already structured. All they did was sack it, burn it, and take 3 generations to get one of them to teach them a little bit about it. And yet we say the great Alexandrian Library. What was at On? Or what was on On? Or what was in on? Astronomy, which was called astrology. Hermetic sciences, real biology, the difference between the various creatures of Earth, some of which walk bipedally. Those that live in the Earth, on the Earth, and outside the Earth, and why. what planets were so designated, how you can tell the life on a planet by watching its moons or absence of, understanding the real basis of nativity, understanding again the 4 rivers and the 8 oceans, understanding so many things there that now mankind is just beginning to come back to, and you're supposed to have mastered in the main if you have an active pineal gland. Because the pineal gland, you thought I'd forgotten where it was, secretes, I never forget you, so I'm not going to forget me, secretes melanin. As the grade of melanin lets you go forth if this planet goes from 3rd to 12th dimensions, or die out if you misuse it. It is the adapting frequency from the Creator and the lesser gods, those that were favorable to the Creator. It was a gift and is a gift and still is the biggest gift you could ever get. You ask, does God smile upon you? Does the Creator love you? You have melanin. You don't have to even ask that question anymore. And you incorporate it into that body so you could frequentize it in tune with the Creator or get as low as the atom. It's up to you. You had that choice. Some didn't have that choice. Some that you created or helped create didn't have that choice. But you pay for whatever you do, good or bad. And sometimes, in order to understand moccasins, you must wear feet. You follow that one, huh? Okay. Everything physical is not real. But as long as you're physical, you better treat it like it's real. Other than that, you never become super physical because you didn't understand the basics of all of this. Most of you are here because you didn't understand the basics and didn't understand the Godhead that you were, have, and are, and so you had to get out there with it in order to understand. To the base bottom. You can escape in your creativity, though. That's why almost everything created that's good is created by people with melanin, functioning melanin. You may not be the president, but you sure be down to the worker. You should know where the records are, and you should know how to improve upon how to keep those records. But sometimes, unless you suffer, you never learn what you have and can appreciate it. Some people have to learn it on the physical plane. But everyone is learning it this way on the physical plane is potential of being more than a God, because that's why sometimes you even volunteered to come here to learn it so you get it right the 1200th time. Finally. Many people believe in reincarnation, but they don't understand it. Some people don't believe in reincarnation, but they don't understand it. But either way, if you don't understand something, you must learn it. When you redo something, it means you must have what? Done it before. And why? Because you needed to improve, and you volunteered to improve, or was so sentenced to improve, that you had to understand it from there. Pyramids, or I like to call them MERS, on all planets in the solar system, or else they could not exist, because all planets in the solar system are hollow. Therefore, they have pyramids. There's something going on inside of a planet in this solar system, on the surface of this planet, on this solar system, and in the heavens of this planet, in this solar system. And those life forms on each energy field are as real to them as you think you are to you. And sometimes your paths meet. Sometimes they meet through drugs. Sometimes they meet through lamenting. Sometimes they meet through blissfulness and happiness. Sometimes they meet through concentration and thought. And sometimes they meet because you're a universal person that understands you have more than one vehicle to drive and don't mind experimenting with driving them all. As long as you don't use a cell phone and take drugs while you're doing it. They're now banning cell phone usage in the car for the wrong reason. But it's the right way. See what I mean? How things work out? They tell you don't drive and drunk. Don't drive and drink. Don't drive and use a cell phone. Because you don't do it well when you do so. You can't. Many people say, oh, I'm a multitasker. I can multitask. I'm bad. But you've been multitasking all the way down to the basic earth, and so you're going to continue to go even lower than that. Huh? Get one thing right and do it right first before you start going into other things. Until you master that, don't say I'm a multitasker. Say I'm doing something different right now, but I'm going to get back to what I should be doing soon. You can't do a lot of things right and do them right. It's not possible. until you get past the reptile brain. Then not only can you multitask, you can multi-place. You can be multidimensional. You can be everywhere at once, which you really are anyway, but you focused on one reality that was necessary, the so-called physical plane, planet, Earth. But you are everywhere. That's where you go at night. You can go anywhere you want to in your mind, in your dreams at night, to the ends of the universe. If you can imagine, you can be there and do and are, but you forget it. You are focused where you need to be because you thought you either understood or didn't understand. Now, let me make this perfectly clear. Pilgrims, I'm going to tell you that over on the yonder section, pilgrims, you're going to find a new world and a gold rush. And when you're here grabbing up all the gold, make sure that you don't take it with you because you can't take it on the spiritual plane. Now, as the gold rush happened after the pilgrims who came from across the seas, escaping tyranny, and people taking their gold, they came and took everybody else's gold and did the same thing all over again. So what did they learn? People are hoarding gold because a dollar bill may not be worth any much. It's not worth anything now. But you're using it, so it's worth everything. There are people that have dung chips. Don't make me explain dung chips to you. That are used for money. And if you could buy bread, a place to live, some of you love, you'd use a dung chip because it's the accepted medium of exchange. Some people, it used to be phrenologically speaking. If you had an occipital lobe and showed that the people who had occipital lobes could do wondrous things, you'd grow an occipital lobe or form it. Simply means some people have very long heads, some people have very frontal heads, and whoever's the ruling class at that time, that's the way the people want to look, because they are the dominant culture. We won't go into stock exchanges and commodities and going like that, because that would really get you and me in trouble. But I will say simply this: whatever you honor is honorable to you, maybe not to the Creator. Whatever you give energy to is real for you, not maybe to the Creator. Whatever you value is valuable to you, but not maybe the Creator. But the Creator has now said her valued planet Earth is going to ascend. And you are mitochondria on it. When we say mitochondria were, those little things inside of a cell that cause that cell to do what it's supposed to do. The mitochondria can replace the cell governor if necessary, but the cell governor is one that controls the mitochondria. You are the mitochondria of the planet Earth. The Earth is a cell. The cell is in somebody's body. The body is in somebody's screen, and therefore you are on the bottom of the totem pole. And if that's hard to believe, go back within you. Within you are worlds, universes, battles going on, cancer cells fighting, good cells fighting, parasites, amoebas. Everything is going on inside your system, and you don't even know it. I hope the Creator never forgets you like you forgot yours. Then you say it's a miracle that I can heal now. I didn't take any of the drugs and I got healed. I just did it on free thoughts. Well, you cannot do anything with free thoughts. You must take a drug to do that. People praying for people and they're getting better? That's not possible. That just may be something. We got to study that and see if that's possible. People used to pray over their food before they took it in. Pray over water before they got on it. Pray to the air. They call them gods of the air, gods of the water, gods of this kind of thing. Now, under an electron microscope, you can see when you're thinking, wave motions go into liquids. You can change the molecular structure of water, or at least the vibration of it. The structural change on the physical, it's vibrational change on the superphysical. But you can do it with your mind. You can cause your salivary glands, your digestive organs and all, to accept food by thinking about it first and praying on it. It begins to analyze what's about to go into the mouth, runs through the pineal gland, runs through the pituitary gland, runs through one part of your brain, and now you're prepared to get that food. If the thing tastes bad, bitter, you know it's going to be bad, you prepare so you can get it down quickly, so you prepare yourself to take the bitter. If it's too sugary, you prepare yourself for that sweet taste, and if it's a bitter taste, you're all upset because you prepared for sweetness. It's all in what you prepared in your mind, working on the physical plane. You're in the mind of the Creator. And you're being now influenced because the cell that the Creator is concentrating on is changing. And if you do good microcardia, you're going to have to change too. You first start by the world you've been given to govern when you jumped into these bodies. And then you can get off the planet and see what you can do for yourself. Is that clear enough if you couldn't follow the first one? Follow the second one. The second one, go, we can get even more basic. We'd rather not go there, but we can. This time on this planet, as it is in ascension, is the time when this planet will still occupy the same space at the same time. But if the vibration would be so different, it would look as though you disappeared. I hear scientists saying all the way, there was a black hole that engulfed in the Crab Nebulae, it just sucked in everything. It disappeared, it changed frequency. And darkness is an absorber of light because all light comes from darkness. So when you get into that kind of understanding, you better understand dark matter, black holes, dark energy. But because it's dark, now they're putting it aside because of prejudices based on race and the reasons for which they think black people are dark. But if you cannot change frequencies on the ultraviolet light, you will burn your insides and will have to vacate the body. So now who's got the blessing and who doesn't? Why are they making melatonin? Why are they making melanin? Why are they getting sunscreens? It is not the color, it is the energy that makes for the absence of color or the presence of color, and there's one gland that does it, and that pineal gland is your frequency to space travel infinitum. Anywhere in your mind you want to go, you can go if you have melanin. Unlike the transporters movies, you're not going to leave the physical body here, then pick it up into the atomic structure, then broadcast it across frequencies, reassemble it, and come down there. No, that was good for Star Wars and Trek. I'm sorry, Star Trek. But you can send your mind anywhere you want to, and the tracer element of melanin will work on wherever you go and reassemble something like that, and then you jump into it and experience what you're there. Because your soul is free. Your mind is free. Your brain and your body are limited. Why always take your body with you when you can build one probably better? You don't have to lift the weights and take all the other things to do it. Just go jump in, if you qualify. Qualification time is going on now. What are you now doing with what you have to deserve something more with what you might get? Work with what you have. If it's limited, make it unlimited. If it's not the way you want it, do the best you can to make it the way you want it. But be careful what you want and ask for. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because you might get it. That is what we're getting now. We thought we wanted something, and we got it. Now we want to get off of it. Well, what are you asking for? Direct your mind to direct your consciousness to tune in and see better than what you think you want. What does the Creator want for you? What does the best part of you, the creative part, want for you? And if they're symbiotic, if they're working together, you'll get just that. If you have a hard time getting something, try another way. I don't mean things that takes effort. I mean things that are superfluous, things that are easy to come by. Because even though it may come to you easy, if it doesn't give you enough backbone and strength to go for more, what good is it going to be? The scientists ask, is there life in outer space? Many scientists still state pompously, after we went through our numerical study going up to nillion, can there be intelligent life out in space? Well, I don't know if there can be intelligent life out in space, but I haven't found too much intelligent life in space. In you, by making that statement. If ignorance is ever blissful, the professor should laugh all the way to the grave. If they question, can there be life in space? All this was built for people who don't know it existed, to honor them for whenever they would wake up to see that it did exist. I mean, help me. I need help. Yeah, I'm neurotic. Yes, I have deep neurosis at the time. Every time I turn on a television set, just to some of these other professors, read the comic books, or watch TV, I get kind of upset. When I see people killing people and enjoying it and all these things, yet I then realize it was the mind control that did it. Take away the mind control, get back to the creator's control, take away the brain waves worked by serpents, and get back to the creative mind by the universe and the creator, I think we'll all be better off. That's what we really want, but we're afraid to express it. I have 4 pictures here, which I don't know will come up on the screen. I'm going to try and see if it will. If it doesn't, no, you cannot have it, but you can send for a packet. It takes us time to develop because it takes a lot of time to do this again. What you're going to see is, first of all, a lens over the sun. Everywhere you see this little bright light with the lens. The sun rays were so strong that to photograph this, you had to put a lens cap on it. You had to put something over to it burn. You're going to see a picture of that one with a flash of light, and then some kind of an object looks like a chalk mark above it. Now, I don't know how much you'll be able to see this. I'll put it here first of all. But this is the way it looks. It's very poor. I know it's just for big rooms, so it's hard. This is the sun in the center. This is this little flash here, and this is a lens cap over it. This is a picture of the sun with lens cap. This flash here is a spaceship. Okay? It's a ship sitting way out in space somewhere. Okay. Now, how big it is hard to tell because you're getting parallax views. If it's close up, it looks bigger. As far away, it looks smaller. Okay? The next one is a ship sitting out there, and any solid object, when you take it on a parallax or long view, it gets kind of spins out. This is this ship here. Same sun, lens cap, another ship. The little speck up here is the ship. Here, this ship sends out a picture and shows the power it has by creating a hologram. And the hologram will look like a face with certain people on this planet. Ship, hologram, face being formed in space. Look how big the face is. It almost rivals the sun. Who's got that kind of power? Explain what you're seeing here. This is a face, an image, a hologram coming from the sun. This is a ship controlling it. This is the sun, this is the ship. Look how big that face must be. You send away for the packet off the internet, you have to ask for it. And it costs money. What kind of power, what kind of intelligence can create an image of a face bigger than the sun in our solar system? Here's a picture of a close-up of that object. Looks like an upside-down ziggurat. Here's a picture of that ship being fired at by some of the nations on Earth with a torpedo trying to zoom toward hitting it again. They're called sun cruisers or avalanches. The large ones are called avalanches. That's where we get our word avalanche. It was when they came around, the whole Earth trembled. The mountains came trembling down. Sun cruiser, torpedo, sun. Mankind has always fought the gods and honored some gods, fought other gods. Human has always tried to figure out why he or she was here and wanted evolution to prove that they came from the beasts, which they did, but through genetic manipulation. Man has always been searching for God and looking in the wrong place for it. Never looked within, went to churches without. If you've got to go through somebody else to find your creator, do so. If you've got to go through somebody else to find your God, do so. But if you take time before you go to sleep at night, before you take your daily task and start going within and searching yourself and asking, by knowing that you are a part of the creation of Creator, and that you have that right, and asking for that guidance direct, then you won't have to blame your minister, your psychiatrist, your phrenologist, your medical doctor, anybody else. Blame yourself, because now you're taking responsibility for what you said you were going to do. Jump into a body and be all that you can be. You didn't have to go through 16 weeks of basic training to do it, which is billions of years of understanding, prove you know. Something that shouldn't be was coming over a highway. Some kind of monster that shouldn't be decaying on a beach. Some kind of monster that shouldn't be decaying on another beach. Close-up of the Kudakabra. Closer up of a Kudakabra. Closer up of a fourth dimensional, fifth dimensional parallax and government hologram. Close up of a ghost. This one won't come out too well, but it's another close-up of a ghost. Simply an energy creature on a different parallax, and different plane of vibration. It just looks, probably the cameras are just like a small or something, unfortunately. Plane just ran into a pterodactyl, small baby one, and had to crash, but all around it you can begin to see it was closer look of the claws and stuff as it was hit. This is a baby pterodactyl. I have other pictures some better pictures, so on and so forth. And again, as long as I'm in town, then we can see what we can work out. Many of you have asked about consultations. I don't know where I could even go to begin to do the consultation you're asking me for, but we'll have to see what's working out. Again, remember that we do have a website and all like this. Behind the Holocaust at 9/11, flying pterodactyl. Not that caused it, but was there viewing. And I have some pictures at 9/11 that you wouldn't believe. For the third dimension, the fourth dimension, and at one time even the fifth dimension got in unison because some people wanted to create something that's going to change the course they hoped of this planet. It's not going to work, but they sure tried hard. I could talk to you for the next 60 hours and never cover the same subject twice. Not because I'm great or egotistical, but because the Creator has opened my mind when I wanted to know. Sometimes you have to be careful of what you ask for, because you might get it. I thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, we're going to turn it over, if it's okay. Brother Yuri, can I open up? Okay,
I'd like
well.
to respond to, okay.
Okay, all right.
Well, I see you stand up your hand. Okay. All right, now where do I go now? Just, yeah. Speak loud, please.
What can we do to strengthen our pineal gland? I heard on the tape that when you go to sleep, it needs to be completely dark. I mean, you can't have the TV on, you can't have any light. So what can we do?
In the daytime, go out under the sun bareheaded if you can. When possible, not in the snow. Take your shoes off and stand in some grass or something, so you're grounding it out. That will let energy come in and it feeds the pineal to what they call the pons of aurorae. At night, the energy that the pineal gland builds up will re-radiate in what they call moonlight. It will be light that will come to you on the astral plane. It will give you the energy to lighten up your load at night. In other words, the pineal gland works to give free serotonin and tryptophan, things that will let you restfully sleep and use your psychic ability. It charges up in the day, it re-emits it at night, especially between about real time, not these time changes, between about 10:30 and 2:30 in the morning. It works best.
Okay.
Love sunlight.
You have a question?
I was lowering my foot while I was sitting down, and I thought I would write what I didn't want to say. To subtract nothing up, no, to subtract nothing down, adds something to nothing. Did he say, I better say good things to him because his wife's driving and I want to go home. To subtract nothing from what he said, the devil was nothing.
Okay, I don't know what he said, but now what are you saying? What are you
I
saying?
was a fan, so I knew what he was talking about.
Pardon?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Okay,
I thought the same way he wrote.
okay.
No,
I'm not following you. We can talk later. I'm not following you. Sorry.
I get hoarse later.
I'm not following you.
Yesterday I got.
Okay, well,
Go ahead, you had a question? Speak loud enough so everybody can hear, everybody.
Can you explain to me God,
Can I explain to you God?
the Creator?
God and the Creator. Okay, let
God,
me,
one, I have one.
okay. Terms are what we paint pictures with when we say words. My universal prime creator created the firmament, the nonillions of stars and everything else. God sometimes is found on a cross here on earth. We image our gods by what we think of our Creator or search for both. Creator to me is everything in every place and everything I can think of that made it. God to me is limited. I think I can be a God because the Creator is in me. I have a whole thing I do on sex, okay, which we take very lightly and loosely. And hip-hop denigrates to a point of being obscene. M3 Mafia go out and, I'm not even going to learn this, I'm stupid. When, what do they call this thing? When